Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of DIY Outdoor Life. If you've been following our series on the road to the rally, you know that we found ourselves in a little bit of a predicament. When we lost the air conditioner on the Tacoma, we're heading due south in a heat wave. The temperatures in the cab were getting up over 110 degrees Fahrenheit. This went from uncomfortable to unbearable in a hurry. And we're not done with our road trip. We still have several hundred miles south to travel. So we've come up with a couple ideas to make traveling more and more bearable, but ultimately we stopped at Ferrystone State Campground. We got a site with electric so we can turn the air conditioner on in our Teardrop camper. We were even considering trying to catch some daytime sleep in there to be able to continue traveling south at night. Ultimately, this is supposed to be a vacation, and that sounds an awful lot like work. So I came up with an idea. I like to think of it as redneck engineering, and we're going to see if that'll work and get us on the road to continue traveling south towards Hot Springs. Now, some of you might remember from the first video in this series about packing that we brought a ridiculous amount of portable power stations. In addition to the small ones to cover camera gear and charge our phones and computers, we brought 3 very large portable power stations, 2 1500s and a 2000 watt-hour portable power station. The purpose of this was to run off-grid air conditioning. I've been experimenting for a couple years now on a bunch of different systems to power the AC on the Bushwhacker in an off-grid situation, in a dry camping or boondocking site. Now, I've had a lot of success, but I'm still working on that system because who would want to buy this amount of portable power stations? This costs thousands and thousands of dollars. The only reason I have these is because I use these for work. So I'm actually borrowing these from my business to be able to run the air conditioner off grid. Now, I knew this amount of storage would be able to power some AC for this vehicle, but I wasn't going to be able to stick a window air conditioner in. I would break something inevitably or hurt somebody on the road. So I got a different idea about going to a Walmart and purchasing one of those standalone air conditioning units. Maybe this would be enough capacity to at least get us a day's driving in and knock the temperature down inside this Tacoma. Now, for those of you who watch the channel, I know what you're thinking, and believe me, I was thinking it too. Why didn't I bring that Mark II Zero Breeze, the portable air conditioner that would have been perfect in this situation? It's designed to run on power stations. I could even run it off the 12-volt section of the vehicle and be able to point the cool air coming off this between me, Ripple, and Lucia. It would have been perfect. But one of the testing plans that I had for this trip was to run the Bushwhacker's air conditioner, so I left this at home. This is one of the joys of post-editing. I don't have this unit with me on the trip. So the next best thing was to try to head to Walmart and purchase one of those portable units that evacuate the hot air out of vent. Maybe I would be able to construct something to run this in the back seat of the vehicle, and hopefully I could get maybe 7 or 8 hours off that air conditioner using these portable power stations. So about 20 minutes from our campsite in Ferrystone, Virginia, I found a Walmart that opened bright and early. I showed up, looked around for a bit, and was able to find a 6,000 BTU air conditioner. I was actually hoping to find a 5,000 BTU air conditioner because I knew how low the runtime would be on these devices. I purchased the unit. It's a pretty decent air conditioner, and I went out to the parking lot to run some tests. Now, I found that this unit drew between 500 and 700 watts, and that it was never going to cycle inside this vehicle. It didn't matter whether you set it at 65 or 75. It was never going to get the temperature down below probably 78 or 79 degrees with that sun beating down. Nevertheless, I knew with that sort of power consumption that if I cycled through power stations, I would be able to get plenty of run time. So I took the unit out of the box, I fumbled through the parts, I found a way to take the plastic baffle that goes in your window at home and stick it in the back window of the Tacoma. I got some of that Billy Mays here, Flex Seal tape that they build boats out of, and I cut it into strips to try to cut down some of the wind noise. I'm not worried about sealing the envelope in this truck as much as I didn't want to hear flapping the whole time we were on the highway. By constructing the hose and assembling all the clips to evacuate the hot exhaust from that system, I actually placed that air conditioner in the back seat of the truck, folded the seat down, and put the seat belt around the unit. I started with it positioned sideways, but ultimately I was able to turn it so that the cool air was blowing towards the front cab of the truck. Now, this cut down on some of Ripple's luxurious sleeping situation in the back, but I knew it would be a welcome addition for her because she was the one that was experiencing the hot weather symptoms the most. With the unit fully assembled and plugged into the power station, we were able to evacuate that hot air out the back window of the Tacoma, and fresh, cool air was blowing into the front section of the cab. Although this wasn't lowering the air temperature of the cab so much, the feeling of the cool air blowing directly on us was more than enough. And after a couple days of super hot driving, this really did feel luxurious. Now, we knew that we were probably going to get about 2.5 hours out of the Ace Vault and probably 2 hours out of each of the Goal Zeros. We could actually even prolong that time by hooking it up to a small solar panel that was pointing outside, although it didn't get much charge from that. We did get about 120 watts per hour going into the system through the car charger. So that was enough to just boost the runtime a little bit. Cars beeped at us as they went by. The redneck engineering of people seeing this air conditioning hanging out the window, people were taking photographs of us. It certainly gave us a laugh, and it lifted the spirits and got us back into vacation mode instead of crisis mitigation. So as Ripple inched her way further and further to the front of the car, she'd place her head under the cooling fan and go to sleep. We knew we were made in the shade. We would be cycling these power stations every couple hours, and that we had enough to make us to Hot Springs, North Carolina. So for a few $100 and using what we had, which admittedly was probably more than we should have had, we were wondering why we didn't do this yesterday. So we made it to Hot Springs, North Carolina, and it feels really good to be in one place and off the road for a bit, especially after everything that we went through. Now, this little Airbnb that we got, we're gonna call home until Thursday when the bushwhacker gathering starts. Now, we get these Airbnbs so Lucia can work. She works remotely, she can set up an office and have reliable internet. But a little side benefit is this incredible view from the front porch of the Blue Ridge Mountains overlooking the French Broad River and the town of Hot Springs. Now, I'm very excited about the gathering that's starting. I'm hoping to shoot some great videos of some bushwhacker trailers with modifications and meet some great people. I've been following the update of the caravan that's coming from the Flaming Alpaca Rally in Jenkins. Really cool to see those photos of all the bushwhackers traveling together. But to wrap this video up for today, before we head down to the rally, I was able to find somebody that'll fix the air conditioner. They weren't willing to do what I wanted to do, which was just swap out that clutch. Of course, they wanted a whole new system, new compressor, new valves, new evaporator. So it's going to cost a lot of money, more money than the rest of the trip put together. But money comes, money goes. You know, you got to roll with the punches. Expect issues like that when you do this kind of travel, especially when you're using used vehicles. You know, I have over 100,000 miles, so still excited. I will type 2 fun, right? It wasn't fun while it was happening, but it's going to be a great story, and I'll never forget my redneck engineered air conditioner with the cars that were beeping and taking photos of us as we drove down the road. So hopefully on our trip back we'll have some real air conditioning. I'm excited about this stuff. I'll say it again. Make sure to tune in to the rally videos that'll be coming up next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.